Hello, everybody. We're talking with a guest from Canada. How about we start off with what's your name?
My name is Kochanuik.
All right. Where in Canada are you from?
I'm from the Comox Valley on the west coast of Canada, very near to the city of Vancouver.
What brings you to our school?
Well, today I was here to talk to your classmates in the school about education in Canada, what my part of Canada is like, and to try to dispel rumors that Canada is all ice and snow and cold. My job is to really talk about Canadian schools, but also the environment in Canada and how different it can be to go to school in Canada as well.
All right. Let's move on to Canada now.
Yeah, let's move on to
What do
Canada.
you think surprises foreigners the most about Canada?
I think the thing that surprises people the most is the diversity in the landscape and how landscape often kind of defines the kind of person that lives in Canada, or that there's such a wide variety of Canadians. And people are, to be Canadian isn't just to be one thing. To be Canadian is to be from so many different countries in the world. We have one of the most diverse cultures in the world, where we have what I would call a cultural mosaic. People come from different parts of the world and incorporate their culture into a larger Canadian culture, which is very special, I think.
Every country has stereotypes. Canada
Yeah.
is also one of them.
Yes.
Which stereotypes are true and which are completely false?
Okay, so the fact that all Canadians like maple syrup is false. The fact that all Canadians like our national dish, which is poutine, which is French fries, gravy, and cheese curds, also false. I'm not a big fan of French fries and gravy as a fancy dish. Poland has some of the best food that I've ever had in my life. It's amazing. So that's not something that I would say is a stereotype that holds true. I would say that Canadians have a worldwide reputation for being kind, welcoming, and accepting. That is a stereotype I embrace. Stereotype that we all love hockey. It's not true for all Canadians, but I love hockey, so it's up there for me. And a stereotype that we're polite, I think, is also mostly true. We have some Canadians who aren't, but I would say that mostly that stereotype holds true as well.
Okay. Now I would like to move on to the education system in Canada.
Good.
How does high school in Canada work? It's like subjects, grading,
Yeah.
flexibility.
Great question. So thank you for asking, Casper. Our system it sounds very similar to your high school system as well, where we have the required academic subjects like physics and chemistry and biology and math and all of those things. The biggest difference would be the fact that we give students choice in high school to do alternate elective courses that sort of grow who they are as people. Our grading system is done by percentage. We have A, B, C, D, F. That corresponds to percentages. The biggest difference is that we don't have a big summative exam at the end of grade 12 or our final year of high school. So you have that maturité or the
Matura exam.
that one. That's the one. We don't have anything like that in Canada anymore. So we try to do all of our assessments in the classes, in the schools, in the courses that they're doing, but not a summative exam that puts pressure on students before they go to university.
Okay.
Good questions, Casper.
All right. So, what languages do you learn in Canada in school, and how many of them?
Well, we have two official languages, English and French, and all Canadians will learn English and French at least to a basic conversational level until they're about 13 or 14 years old. After that, they have the choice of either just maintaining their dominance in one language or the other. But throughout the country, we have two languages officially, but we also learn, because we're a multicultural country, we also have classes in our high schools in German, in Spanish, in Japanese. Many high schools in British Columbia will offer Hindi or Mandarin or Cantonese as well. So really, our languages that we study reflect the diverse multicultural country that we live in.
All right. You said the two official languages in Canada are French and English.
Yes.
Is French really as that useful and needed to go to Canada?
Yeah, oh no, depending on where you go in Canada, if you were to study in, say, Montreal or Quebec City, I would say you would definitely want to have French, 100%. But if you're coming to Toronto, if you're coming to Calgary, Vancouver or where I live in Comox, you absolutely would not need French. You only really need French is the only times you need French are if you're going into a career in public service, or if you're teaching French, or you're working for the federal government. So they require English and French. All signage is in English and French. So every box of cereal that you get or can of Coke that you get will be in English and French in Canada. So it's very helpful to know French. And I think knowing other languages, the fact that you and I are having this conversation in English tells me the importance of knowing another language.
All right, let's move on to the culture of Canada.
Yeah.
What cultural events matter to young people in Canada? Yesterday, we celebrated Guy Fawkes Day in our school. So, what cultures do you celebrate in your schools?
That's a good question. We don't have a Guy Fawkes Day. Young people celebrate the traditional holidays in Canada, things like Halloween, Christmas, Easter. I think what's becoming more and more important to young people in Canada, and this is very specific to young people, are social justice issues. So we see world, we have like Earth Week, for example, that's entirely organized by young people to talk about the effects of climate change in our community. We have social justice issues like the rights of Indigenous peoples in Canada. So we have a lot of young people organizing events and days and marches, and not, I wouldn't say protests, but certainly awareness campaigns around things that are important to them.
All right. Uh, People online, Canadians, say that hockey is a religion. Is that true or is that exaggerated?
It might be a little exaggerated because we are a nation of immigrants and people come from different parts of the world. So if a person comes from Pakistan or a person comes from Gambia in sub-Saharan Africa, hockey is not a religion there, right? So when they come from those countries, they don't necessarily bring a love of that sport. Usually people bring a love of cricket or soccer or American football. But people do, as soon as they watch hockey, I would argue that they fall in love with it. So I would just say it's something that we are passionate about.
Okay, I would like to ask some more like personal questions now.
Yeah.
Why did you come to Poland? Let's start with that.
Well, I came to Poland because I was invited, and I'm very grateful to have come to Poland. Like, this is such an amazing opportunity. Like, very few people get a chance to see schools in Poland, and for me, it's a wonderful opportunity. So I came to Poland for that. My family roots are in this country was another great opportunity, and to learn more about it. Because if I was to ask you the same questions, if I was to ask young people in Canada what they know about Poland, it's not a lot. Like, we don't know that much about Poland, and that's a real tragedy in some ways, because I've seen some of the most beautiful cities in all of Europe are in Poland. Krakow is one of the most beautiful cities I've ever been to, and we don't talk about it in Canada as like the same way that we do about London or Prague or places like that.
Okay, so why did you pick our school, or did you get invited here as well?
I was invited here as well. If I knew more about schools in Poland, I would have picked this school, because look, we're having this great conversation. This is the first time I've had a conversation like this. First time I've been interviewed in Poland in my life. I'm so excited. I'm honored. I'm honored that I'm being interviewed here. But I was invited to the school, and your school graciously accepted me, which is lovely. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so let's move on to some like fun questions.
Let's do fun. I'm all about fun.
If you could recommend one place in Canada to visit, what would it be and why?
Oh, I gotta go Comox where I live. I mean, hey, you can go skiing and golfing and sailing in one day. Who wouldn't want those things? To me, the most beautiful places in Canada. It's hard. Like, you grew up in a place where you know this part of Poland, right? And you probably, your parents probably lived here for a reason. They either loved this place or there were certain aspects that drew them here. I lived my entire life on Vancouver Island, which is a huge island, but it's still an island. I mean, I grew up right next to the ocean. I've lived next to the ocean my entire life. For me, I can only recommend places that are close to the ocean because that's what speaks to me in my heart. So for me, I'd always say, come to the ocean, see whales jumping out of the ocean, dolphins swimming. To me, it's the most magical place in the world.
All right, what's, in your opinion, the best Canadian food?
Oh, okay, the best Canadian food. Oh my gosh, that's such a tough one, because as I said in my talk with the group today, we are a nation of immigrants, and the best food that we have It's not like Poland, where I can go to a Polish restaurant and have 40 pages of Polish dishes that are specific to Poland. We don't have that in Canada. We don't have a national dish in Canada. Our best food is food that immigrants have brought to our country. So if I was to answer that question, I would say the best food in Canada is the curry, the Indian curry from this particular restaurant in this part of my city. The best British food might be here, the best Italian food might be here, but our menus reflect the diverse culture that we live in.
Okay, now what advice would you give students that want to study abroad?
Oh, that's a great question. That's the best question the whole day. I would say keep an open mind and understand that different parts of the world look at education, look at lifestyle differently. So keeping an open mind and being willing to take advantage of opportunities. Like for young people from Poland coming to Canada, the best piece of advice that I can give them is to get involved in everything that they can. The most successful students we have are not students who go to school all day, take notes, go to their room and do homework all night. The most successful students we have are students that do their work, but then they join clubs, they join teams, they keep an open mind about the school experience because that's where they meet their friends. That's where they have experiences that they'll remember for the rest of their life.
So what would you say is the most challenging thing for those type of students?
Another good question. These are great questions, Casper. Well done. The most challenging thing is usually language, and it's usually about routine. Because I don't know when people eat dinner in Poland or eat breakfast in Poland, but a lot of our students really struggle with when dinner is. For example, we eat dinner around between 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock p.m. And then we have students from Spain, from Italy, from France who come, and they're not used to eating dinner until 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. So those kind of adjustments can be very hard. But again, if you keep an open mind, then those difficult things, language tends to be the hardest thing. But even then, young people learn language so easily, so quickly, that hardship is usually overcome quickly as well.
Okay, so that's going to be it for me today.
Oh,
Thank you so much for this interview.
These are the best questions ever. Really appreciate your time today, Casper. Thank you very much. Great questions.
Thank you also for the interview.
Now that was awesome.